Ladies and gentlemen, after all the money that Rudy got to put out, I don't know, we need to give him a new nickname, like food stamp Rudy or, or Poe Rudy. Okay. So these women are suing him again. You know why? Because hours after he was ordered to pay them $148 million, he went right back out there and openly spoke bad about these two women once again. So on Monday, they filed a second defamation lawsuit on Rudy Giuliani, and they are requesting that the judge put a permanent gag on Rudy. He just don't have the sense of a gnat. Rudy Giuliani is still blabbing hours after new defamation lawsuit. After two Atlanta poll workers won $148 million defamation lawsuit against Rudy Giuliani on Friday, they filed another one on Monday, citing that Rudy apparently went on to Newsmax and went right back to putting out false assertions that got him in trouble in the first place against these two women. So, Rob Smith is his colleague, and he did an interview with Rudy Giuliani, and he just went right out there and just started dragging Ruby Friedman and her daughter, Shay Moss. So, wow. You would think now that he have to pay them this $148 million that he would be humble and be quiet. You would think he would have enough sense to do that. Not Rudy. Not Rudy. So he goes on and says, and it's kind of un-American, does it? And then he said that poor restraint. Well, are they actually going to put a gag on me when I walk around? And then he says, I mean, this bears no relationship to my learning in law school about the First Amendment, the right to a free speech. Well, that free speech got you, that's why you got that $148 million judgment on you because of your free speech, Rudy. That was pretty expensive speech right there. So Giuliani went on whining about supposedly not being allowed to defend himself during last week's trial. Rudy, you didn't walk in that courtroom and you weren't allowed to defend yourself. That's why you had a lawyer with you. Okay. When in fact he was ruled liable for defamation in a default judgment in August because he couldn't even produce documents and electronic evidence, including about his finances during the discovery process. Schmidt then was asking Rudy about what brought about these legal woes. Your initial allegation, do you still believe them to be true? Last week, Giuliani said outside of the courthouse that everything I said about them is true. These two women that just beat him in court, right? Of course, I don't regret it. I told the truth. They were engaged in changing votes. And on Monday, it was more of the same. Well, he could not prove in court that they changed any votes, ladies and gentlemen. He's making an accusation he was not able to back up in court. Well, of course, they'll sue me again for what I said, but yeah, I do, he replied. But they want me to lie. They are suing me in order to lie to them. I'm sorry, I can't do it. Yeah, you can't apparently keep your mouth shut. And you know what, y'all? They can sue him multiple times. They can put a third lawsuit on him. That's what happened also to Trump. Remember, there was a woman making an accusation that Trump did something to her. She sued him. Trump went on, I think, Truth Social, running his mouth, and she slapped a second lawsuit on him again. You can do that. You know, one thing Rudy Giuliani is not, he is definitely not a humble man at all. So he alleged that in December of 2020, for instance, that during a ballot counting operation, Friedman and Moss were adding bogus votes. And he said this was obvious. Well, if you can't prove it, Rudy, then it's not obvious, okay? And he said they were passing around USB ports as if they were vials of heroin or cocaine. Okay, so they were passing around USB ports trying to cheat in votes as if it was heroin or cocaine. This man sure don't know when to stop. But both pairs testified that Moss was simply giving her daughter a ginger mint. Well, Rudy, you can't make these accusations and then show up in court and you can't prove nothing. And that's why you got to pay $148 million. Woof. Mm, mm, mm. So he goes on and says if you'd like to help Mayor Giuliani fight what is an utterly ridiculous verdict, and specifically the damages. This is what Schmidt is saying. $148 million, donate to the Giuliani Legal Defense Fund. Ah, he said, as a phone number and website address shown on the screen. President Trump has endorsed this fund. Urge you to support it. We'd like you to donate. I'm sure you do. It's not up to the public to pay the debt of Rudy Giuliani. He got himself in this mess. Let him get himself out of it. That's what he gets for running his big mouth. If you would have just went on about your business, you wouldn't have been hit with a second lawsuit. So, y'all, by the time this thing is said and done, he probably will have to pay these women millions more for running his mouth hours after the case, dragging them, talking bad about them, making accusations that he could not even prove in court. This man ain't, this man is stupid for real. So, y'all, tell me what you think about Rudy getting sued again by the same election workers because he couldn't leave well enough alone. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.